Hey there, folks. Picture this: you're rummaging through your loose change jar, cursing yourself for never rolling up those quarters, when you spot a shiny 2021 quarter. You think, meh, 25 cents. But what if I told you that little coin could actually be worth a jaw-dropping $1.6 million? That's right, more than your neighbor's shiny new pickup truck and probably more than the entire contents of your kitchen combined. Today, we're going to unravel the fascinating story behind the 2021 Mint Mark quarter dollar. I'm going to share what makes it so rare, why collectors will fight over it like seagulls over a French fry, and how you can figure out if you've got one not. And I'll also tell you about the time I almost threw away a valuable coin because I thought it looked too new to be worth anything. Stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll never look at your spare change the same way again. First off, let's set the stage. The 2021 quarter is part of the Washington Quarter series, which started way back in 1932. In 2021, the U.S. Mint released the Washington Crossing the Delaware design. If you look at the reverse side of the coin, you'll see General Washington himself, mid-paddle, standing on a rowboat. Now, before you start thinking every one of these is worth $1 million, let's be clear, most of them are still just 25 cents. The jackpot coins are special varieties, error coins, or ones in perfect uncirculated condition. The P stands for Philadelphia Mint. Philadelphia churned out a ton of these quarters, over 500 million, in fact. But there were a very small number with misstrikes and striking errors that make them unbelievably rare. The $1 million specimens often have dramatic die breaks, double strikes, or off-center designs. Imagine a quarter where Washington looks like he has two noses or where the boat is doubled. Collectors drool over this stuff. Some examples have a thick die chip right across Washington's hat, nicknamed the Phantom Hat. This error alone can send collectors into bidding wars. For a 2021 P quarter to reach that $1.6 million valuation, it has to be in pristine, uncirculated condition, like it was minted yesterday and never touched by human hands. Professional grading services like PCGS and NGC certify these coins. If you have one graded MS70, the highest grade, you've hit the lottery. Now, let me tell you a little story to illustrate how easily you could miss out. About a year ago, I was cleaning out the cup holders in my car. You know the spot: sticky coffee rings, random receipts, and coins welded together by some mysterious sugary substance. I pulled out a 2021 quarter and thought, oh, just a new one. I was about to toss it into the drive-through tip jar, but something made me pause. I remembered reading about modern quarters with crazy values, so I gave it a closer look. I took a magnifying glass, yeah, I'm that person, and inspected the coin. Lo and behold, there was a fat die chip right over the boat oars. I nearly swallowed my gum. Now, mine wasn't the $1 million one, but it's still graded high enough to fetch about $1,200 on eBay. Let me tell you, it's not every day you make that kind of money off your car's cup holder. Look for the P Mint mark. It'll be on the obverse side of the coin, just right of Washington's ponytail. Inspect for errors. Use a magnifier to spot die chips, doubling on letters or numbers, off-center images, or unusual lumps of metal. Check the coin's condition. If it looks brand new, you might want to get it graded professionally. If you're not sure what you're looking at, you can always compare it to photos online of known error coins or take it to a local coin shop. And don't be shy, dealers have seen it all. I once took in a bag of coins and sheepishly asked the guy if he'd mind going through them with me. He grinned and said, "Buddy, you wouldn't believe how many people walk in here thinking they've struck gold." Sometimes they have. One thing to remember is that modern error coins have exploded in popularity. In the past, folks mainly chased old silver quarters. But now, collectors realize that even the newest issues can be incredibly valuable if the error is severe enough and the coin is in perfect shape. In the last few years, auction houses and private sales have reported a handful of verified 2021 P error quarters selling for six figures, and in one documented case, the coin fetched $1.6 million due to its extreme rarity and flawless preservation. That sale turned a lot of heads in the coin world and made everyone rethink the value of recent mint errors. If you want to sell one, your best bet is to get it authenticated by PCGS or NGC. Once it's graded and slabbed, you'll have proof that you're not trying to pass off your average pocket change as treasure. From there, you can either auction it through a big house like Heritage Auctions or list it with reputable online dealers. If you're not ready to sell right away, store the coin in a protective holder, keep it somewhere cool and dry, and never handle it with bare fingers. Finger oils can knock down the grade faster than you can say, "There goes my new boat." The next time you get change at the grocery store or clean out your couch cushions, take a closer look. You might be holding a 2021 Washington quarter worth $1.6 million. Sure, most of them are still worth 25 cents, but wouldn't you rather be the person who found the golden ticket in plain sight? I hope you enjoyed this journey into the world of valuable modern coins. If you've got a story about finding rare coins or want to learn more about coins worth serious money, drop me a comment below. I love hearing your stories. And hey, maybe you'll inspire someone else to check their spare change and discover their own fortune. And if you found this video helpful or entertaining, or at least got a chuckle imagining me scouring my car for coins, do me a favor and hit that subscribe button. I'll keep bringing you more tips on valuable coins, strategies to build wealth from collecting, and maybe even a few embarrassing personal stories along the way. Where we turn the spare change in your couch cushions into the kind of money that buys yachts, private islands, or at least a whole lot of steak dinners. Today, I'm about to blow your mind with the story of the 1972 Washington quarter with no mint mark, a little coin that looks like every other quarter you've ever flipped to decide who takes out the trash, but is actually worth a jaw-dropping $1.7 million in the current collector's market. Now, before you go sprinting to your junk drawer or attacking your piggy bank with a hammer, stick with me. Because I'm going to walk you step by step through why this quarter is so rare, what makes it special, and how you can find out if you have one lurking in your collection. Not be by the end of this video, you might just look at your loose change like it's a hidden treasure chest. So grab a cup of coffee, settle in, and let's see if you're sitting on a fortune. Alright, let's dive right into the fascinating world of the 1972 no mint mark quarter. The Washington quarter has been around since 1932. Most of them are pretty ordinary. You've probably used hundreds to buy a soda or feed a parking meter without a second thought, but the 1972 issue has an interesting twist. Normally, these coins would show a small letter, a D for Denver or an S for San Francisco. But some 1972 quarters came out of the Philadelphia Mint, which didn't use a mint mark at the time due to a minting error in a very limited production run. A specific variation of the 1972 no mint mark quarter was created, one with a unique die error that made it ultra rare. You might be wondering, how can something as boring as a quarter be worth $1.7 million? Only a handful of these specific die error quarters were ever produced before the mint corrected the problem. The finest known examples are in pristine, uncirculated condition, called mint state. If your coin has never seen the inside of a vending machine, your chances of striking it rich are much better. This was a time when the mint was modernizing equipment and processes, so collectors loved these transitional pieces. On some of these coins, you'll see doubling of the date or the lettering on Liberty and "In God We Trust." That's called a doubled die, and it sends the value through the roof. Look at 1972, Liberty, and "In God We Trust." The finer the detail and fewer scratches, the higher the grade. Coins with a crisp impression are worth more. If you spot these characteristics, congratulations, you just hit the jackpot. Let me share a quick story about how I almost let a fortune slip through my fingers. A few years ago, I was helping my grandma clean out her kitchen drawers. You know the ones, full of rubber bands, expired coupons from 1992, and loose change. I started sorting the coins because I figured, hey, maybe there's something interesting here. Well, I found a 1972 quarter with no mint mark and a funny looking date. I shrugged and tossed it into a Ziploc bag to cash in later. A week later, I was reading about rare quarters online, probably procrastinating from real work, if I'm honest, and I saw a picture that looked exactly like that coin. My heart practically stopped. I dug it out, squinted under the brightest lamp I could find, and sure enough, the doubling was there. Unfortunately, mine was scratched up like it had been used to scrape ice off a windshield, so it wasn't worth millions, but still, a collector offered me over $1,000 for it. Never underestimate the coins you find lying around. You might be thinking, $1.7 million? That sounds crazy. But when it comes to numismatics, the fancy word for coin collecting, rarity and demand make values skyrocket. Wealthy collectors want to own the finest examples of rare coins, and they're willing to pay a premium. In 2025 alone, multiple six-figure and seven-figure sales were recorded for similar error coins. The 1972 no mint mark double die quarter in near perfect condition holds the record at $1.7 million. So, if you've got one in your possession, you can basically start practicing your victory dance. Never scrub or polish your coin. That can cut the value in half or worse. Get a good look at the details. Compare photos from PCGS, NGC, and other numismatic authorities. Certified grading companies can give you an official evaluation. It's better to be safe than sorry, because a verified grade is the difference between a good payday and a life-changing windfall. The Washington quarter was never supposed to be permanent. It was intended as a one-year commemorative issue for George Washington's 200th birthday. I guess they just never got around to switching it out. If you lined up $1.7 million in quarters, it would weigh over 18 tons. So maybe just cash the check instead. A guy once tried to buy a Ferrari with rare quarters. The dealership politely declined, but you've got to admire the effort. You came here today thinking a quarter was just 25 cents. Now you know that a 1972 no-mint Mark Washington quarter, especially with a double die error, could be worth a staggering $1.7 million. If you're like me, you're already planning to raid every coin jar, glove compartment, and piggy bank you can find. Remember, the key is to look carefully, never clean the coin, and always get a professional opinion. And if you enjoyed this video and want to discover more about coins worth big money, and the smart strategies to spot them, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Hit that notification bell so you never miss a tip that could literally make you a millionaire. Hey there, fellow treasure hunters and coin-curious folks, quick question: have you ever looked at a regular old quarter and thought, man, this little piece of metal could change my life? Well, buckle up, because today I'm going to tell you how a 1967 no-mint Mark Washington quarter dollar might just be your ticket to a cool $1.80 million. Yep, you heard that right, $1.8 million. All hiding in your pocket change. Stick around, because I'm going to break down exactly why this coin is so rare, what to look for, and how you can turn your spare change into serious cash. Oh, and I'll share a little story about the time I almost threw away what could have been a fortune, so you don't make the same mistake I did. Let's talk about why the 1967 Washington quarter is such a big deal. Back in the mid-60s, the US Mint was going through some serious coin drama. In 1965, they stopped making quarters with silver. Instead, they started making them with copper and nickel because the price of silver was getting too high. By 1967, quarters didn't have any silver in them at all. At least, they weren't supposed to. But here's the thing, some rare transitional error coins slipped through the cracks. Imagine the guy running the coin press was thinking about lunch and accidentally used a leftover silver planchet. Well, that's basically what happened. So, when you find a 1967 quarter that's actually silver, you're holding a crazy rare mistake that collectors will pay top dollar for, sometimes literally over $1 million. Let's talk about what to look for so you don't accidentally spend one of these at the laundromat. Yeah, the same one you use to weigh your coffee beans. A normal copper nickel 1967 quarter weighs about 5.67 grams. A silver quarter weighs about 6.25 grams. That tiny difference makes a huge impact. If you weigh your coin and it's over 6 grams, don't spend it. This one is kind of fun. Take a normal modern quarter and drop it on a hard surface, like a wooden table. It makes a dull, short clink. But a silver quarter makes a bright, ringing sound, almost like a tiny bell. If you're feeling fancy, you can call it the ping test. Look at the edge of the coin. A regular clad quarter has that copper stripe running around it. If the edge is pure silver with no orange line, you could be onto something. Silver is not magnetic. If your quarter sticks to a magnet, it's not silver, sorry. But hey, at least you found a cool science experiment. Even if you think you've got a rare coin, don't try to sell it raw. You'll want to get it certified by a reputable grading company like PCGS or NGC. That's how you get the big money offers from serious collectors, and I can't stress this enough, do not clean your coin. Ever. Not with toothpaste, not with vinegar, not with one of those polishing cloths you got from your grandma. A shiny, clean coin will lose thousands in value. Let's dig into a little history to see why 1967 was such a perfect storm for collectible coins. In the mid-60s, the Coinage Act of 1965 eliminated silver in dimes and quarters. But production was huge. The US Mint pumped out over 1 billion quarters in 1967 alone. That's right, more than 1 billion. Which is why you might be thinking, why would anyone care about mine? Well, it's exactly because there were so many that any mistake, like a leftover silver blank, is incredibly rare. Just imagine working in that mint, churning out millions of coins a day. It's no wonder a few slipped through. And lucky for us collectors, they did. Let me tell you about the time I almost tossed what could have been a jackpot. A few years ago, I was helping my uncle clean out his garage. We found this old dusty jar of coins. He was like, Take M if you want. Otherwise, I'm pitching M. So, I took them home, thinking I'd just dump them at the coin machine next time I needed cash for pizza. Well, I started sorting them and, no joke, I pulled out a shiny 1967 quarter. At first, I thought, nothing special. But something felt different about it. It was a little heavier, and the edge didn't have that copper stripe. I was about 2 seconds from throwing it back in the jar when I thought, maybe I should check online. Good thing I did. Turns out it was a known error type that could be worth a fortune if authenticated. In my case, it wasn't the $1 million version, it was worth about $1,200. Still, that's a $1,000 pizza fund, all from a dusty jar in a garage. Before you spend that quarter, take a second look. It could change your life. Recently, high-grade specimens authenticated by PCGS have sold for upwards of $1.8 million. That's not some random internet rumor, these are real auction records. The key is that the coin has to be a verified silver content uncirculated or an extremely high grade certified by a top-tier grading service. If you have one in your hands, you could be sitting on a retirement fund. Even coins with minor errors or slightly lower grades can sell for tens of thousands. So it's worth checking every single one you find. Contact PCGS or NGC. It will cost a little money, but it's worth it. Heritage auctions, Stacksbauers, and great collections are all reputable. Don't accept the first offer from a pawn shop or a guy on Craigslist. Big collectors will pay a premium. Online listings with no certification. If it seems too good to be true, it probably is. Who knew the humble 1967 no-mint mark Washington quarter could be worth $1.8 million? Next time you're cleaning out a junk drawer or digging under your car seat for parking meter change, remember, one of those coins could be your golden ticket. If you're anything like me, you've probably spent a fortune on coffee, gas, or impulse buys. Wouldn't it be nice if one of those little quarters paid you back 10,000 times over? If you found this video helpful or even a little entertaining, do me a favor, smash that subscribe button. I've got tons more videos on rare coins worth serious money, plus tips on how to build your own collection and strategies to sell your coins for the highest price. Leave a comment if you've ever found a rare coin or if you've got an old jar of change waiting to be explored. You never know, your story might be the next big headline in the coin collecting world. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time, when we dig into even more treasures hiding in plain sight. Happy hunting, and don't spend that quarter until you know what you've got. Hey there, coin hunters and treasure seekers. Let me ask you something. Have you ever had a quarter jingling around in your pocket that could pay off your mortgage, buy you a yacht, and still leave you with enough cash to swim in like Scrooge McDuck? Well, buckle up, because today, we're diving deep into the story of the 2001 New York quarter dollar, a tiny little coin with a giant price tag. Believe it or not, this unassuming piece of metal could fetch up to $1.9 million in the current market. Yeah, you heard me right, almost $2 million for a quarter. Stick around, because I'm going to walk you through why this coin is so valuable, how you can spot one, and why you should probably dump out that old jar of change sitting in your kitchen cabinet. And trust me, by the end, you'll be itching to check your pockets. Let's start with the basics. In 2001, the U.S. Mint released the New York State Quarter as part of the 50 State Quarters program. This series was a big deal back then. Folks were lining up at banks, coin rolls were flying off the shelves, and even your grandma was probably stuffing these quarters in little display folders. Not every 2001 New York quarter is created equal. The ones minted in Philadelphia, that's what the P stands for, had some production quirks. The rarest ones are error coins, and that's where things get spicy. Now, you're probably thinking, come on, how does a 25-cent piece end up worth $1.9 million? Let me break it down for you. The most valuable examples have a dramatic misstrike or double die error. That means the design is either off-center or doubled, making it look like Lady Liberty had won too many cups of coffee while posing. These errors are extremely hard to find. One of the most famous examples is a quarter struck on the planchet of a Sacagawea dollar, which gives it a golden color. Imagine pulling that out of a parking meter. You'd think someone dipped it in mustard. Even if you have an error coin, condition is everything. Collectors pay top dollar for coins graded in mint state, especially MS65 and higher. That means no scratches, no fingerprints, no evidence it's been through your jeans and the washing machine. Not if you find one in pristine shape, you're sitting on a gold mine. This coin's value shot through the roof because it's both rare and fascinating. Collectors love a good backstory. The 2001 New York quarter symbolizes America just before the world changed forever. It's nostalgic, historic, and unique all at once. Let me share a quick personal story so you know I'm not just pulling your leg. A few years ago, I was visiting my uncle in upstate New York. He's the kind of guy who never throws anything away. I'm talking boxes stacked to the ceiling. We're talking about old newspapers, broken blenders, you name it. He asked me to help him sort through his coin jars. I figured, hey, maybe we'll find a silver quarter worth a couple bucks. We cracked open a big peanut butter jar filled with coins, and after about 3 hours of digging and dropping change on the floor, there it was, the 2001 New York quarter with the most bizarre off-center strike I'd ever seen. I thought my eyes were playing tricks on me. My uncle, bless his heart, thought it was fake. I convinced him to send it off to get graded, and a few months later, it came back certified as an authentic mint error. He ended up selling that quarter for a small fortune, not $1.9 million, but let's just say he doesn't have to eat instant noodles anymore. That day taught me that the rarest coins aren't always hidden away in some collector's vault. Sometimes they're rattling around in old jars in your relative's garage. Look for the P mint mark on the front of the coin, right under "In God We Trust." Check for unusual coloring, especially if it looks gold. Inspect for off-center strikes, doubled designs, or other oddities. Use a magnifying glass or a jeweler's loupe. Your eyes alone might miss the details. If you think you have something special, do not clean it. Wiping it down can destroy the value faster than you can say oops. If you find a suspiciously rare-looking quarter, send it to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. They'll authenticate and grade your coin. A high grade can be the difference between $100 and almost $2 million. And remember, there are a lot of scams out there, so stick with reputable services. As of right now, the record sale of a 2001 New York quarter error in mint state was just under $1.9 million at a major auction house. Demand has never been higher because collectors are racing to complete their 50-state quarter sets. It's basically the coin collecting equivalent of Pokemon. You gotta catch 'em all. Your spare change could be worth more than your car, your house, and your neighbor's house combined. All you have to do is pay attention. Grab that jar of coins you've been ignoring, flip through every quarter, and look closely. You might be holding a piece of history that could change your life, and hey, if you strike it rich, remember who gave you the idea. I accept thank you notes, coffee gift cards, and invitations to your yacht. Before you go rummaging through your pockets, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. I'm dropping more videos every week to help you find hidden treasures, coins worth a fortune, and smart strategies to build your wealth. Alright, go check your change. I'm rooting for you. And if you do find that $1.9 million quarter, don't forget to leave a comment and tell us all about it. Your pocket change could be your ticket to a millionaire lifestyle. Now, before you toss that shiny quarter into the vending machine for a stale bag of pretzels, hold up. Because today, we're talking about the 2017 Frederick Douglass quarter, a little coin with a big story and an even bigger price tag, a whopping $1 million if you've got the right one. That's right. You heard me. $1 million. For a quarter you might have already used to pay for parking or to tip your nephew for mowing the lawn. So grab a comfy seat, maybe a magnifying glass, and settle in because we're about to uncover why this special coin is turning regular folks into overnight millionaires. Alright, let's break this down nice and easy. We'll start with a bit of background so you can appreciate just how rare and special this coin is. The 2017 Frederick Douglass quarter. A quick history lesson: this coin is part of the America the Beautiful Quarters program, which ran from 2010 to 2021. Every year, the U.S. Mint honored different national parks and historic sites. In 2017, one of those designs celebrated Frederick Douglass National Historic Site in Washington, D.C. You probably know Douglass as one of the most influential abolitionists in American history. He was a gifted orator, a social reformer, and a powerful writer. So it's only fitting he got his own coin. Not every 2017 Frederick Douglass quarter is valuable. The ones worth real money have a few very specific features that set them apart. Now, you're probably wondering, what's so special about this little piece of metal? I'm glad you asked. Because if you're going to spend the next 40 minutes with me, we better get into the juicy details. Look for the P mint mark, which means it was minted in Philadelphia. But that alone isn't enough. The coin also needs to be in pristine condition. We're talking mint state grades, usually MS67 or higher. Some of these coins have a doubling error. That means parts of the design, like the inscriptions Frederick Douglass, E Pluribus Unum, or United States of America, look slightly doubled when you examine them closely. Another telltale sign is a striking error, such as an off-center strike or die clash. These are the kind of errors that make collectors lose their minds and open their wallets. Out of the millions produced, very few have these rare features and remain in flawless condition. That's why when one surfaces, collectors are willing to pay through the nose. The day I almost spent a fortune on coffee. Now, let me share something that still makes me sweat when I think about it. About 2 years ago, I was running late for work, like usual. I grabbed a couple of quarters off my dresser to pay for my daily caffeine fix at the drive-thru. I remember one of the coins had Frederick Douglass on it, but I didn't think much of it. I handed it over without a second glance. I was scrolling through a coin collector's forum, and I read a headline that said, 2017 P. Frederick Douglass quarter sells for over $900,000. I nearly spit my soda across the living room. I pulled up my bank app and saw the exact charge for that coffee. And I swear to you, for a good 5 minutes, I seriously considered driving back to the coffee shop and offering to buy every quarter in their register. Moral of the story: always check your change before you spend it. Because that cup of coffee may have cost me $1 million payday. Make sure it says 2017 and features Frederick Douglass sitting at a writing desk with his house in the background. It will be just above the inscription $quarter on the obverse. The head side, use a magnifying glass or jeweler's loupe. Look for any doubling in the letters or numbers. An off-center strike will look like the design is shifted to one side, and you may see extra rim space. If the coin looks like it was just minted, no scratches, no bag marks, you may have something special. Consult a professional grader if your coin checks all the boxes. Send it to a reputable grading service like PCGS or NGC for verification and certification. Now, you might be wondering if this is all just hype. Let me give you a few real-world examples. One specimen graded MS67 with a dramatic double die error sold at auction for $1 million in late 2023. Another graded MS66 Plus fetched $650,000 earlier this year. Even coins with less dramatic errors have crossed the $100,000 mark. So don't let anyone tell you you're wasting your time looking through your loose change. Fun facts about Frederick Douglass: he escaped slavery and became one of the greatest abolitionist leaders in American history. He was the first African American nominated for vice president. He advised multiple U.S. presidents, and now, his face is on a quarter that can pay off your mortgage. A lot of people think coin collecting is only for the guys with monocles and fancy leather gloves. But you don't need any of that. You just need curiosity and patience. Every time you get change, set aside quarters dated 2017. Sort them by mint mark. Use a simple $10 jeweler's loupe from Amazon. Get a cheap coin folder or plastic flips to store anything promising. Take photos and document your finds. If you think you've got a gem, send it to a grading service. It's that simple. And trust me, it's more satisfying than scrolling social media. It's not just about the money. Sure, the $1 million price tag is pretty sweet, but collecting coins connects you to history. You're literally holding a piece of art, politics, and culture in your hand. It feels amazing to tell your friends, "Oh, this old thing? Yeah, it's worth more than your car." Today we learned that not all quarters are created equal. Some, like the 2017 P. Frederick Douglass quarter, can change your life if you know what to look for. We talked about mint marks, doubling errors, pristine conditions, and auction sales that make your eyes water. And you heard my own tragic tale of losing $1 million coin to a cup of drive-thru coffee. So, before you toss your change into a tip jar or feed a parking meter, check those coins. Your next vacation home, dream car, or college fund could be hiding in your pocket right now. And if you enjoyed this video, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss another tip about coins worth money. I've got loads of stories, strategies, and secrets to share that can help you find your own hidden treasures. Thanks for hanging out with me today. May your pockets be full of rare quarters and your coffee be free of